Okay, so you're here,
Hmm.
which means you want to know what's up with Apple,
Hmm.
but you don't have all day, right?
Right.
Let's get right into it then. Uh, Apple's big developer conference,
Mm.
WWDC 2025.
Yeah.
We've been looking at all the reports and like what's coming out. And basically we're going to try to figure out what are the big things to expect, what could really change things, and maybe even some surprises, right?
Absolutely.
So we're talking about the software for iPhones and iPads and Macs, Apple Watches, the Vision Pro headset,
Yeah, all that new stuff.
all that. And then also, like, are there going to be big changes for AI for Apple Intelligence? Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see, this is kind of your guide to what's going to be the big talk, after the event happens. We're going to zero in on these operating systems, all the rumors about Apple Intelligence,
Right.
and really what it means for, like, how we use our Apple devices, day to day.
Exactly. So, like, after this, you'll know what to really look for. Okay. So let's dig into this. Okay.
Yep.
One of the biggest things seems to be this, like, visual overhaul, like a total redesign.
Yeah, that's a big one.
The rumors are saying this is the biggest redesign since iOS 7,
Wow.
which is crazy.
That's huge.
That's like a decade ago almost, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of visual language they're about to change.
I know it's a huge undertaking.
It is.
How do you think they're going to keep things familiar but also make it feel new?
Well, that's what's so interesting about all this is that they're saying it's going to be really broad, like across the board,
Yeah.
It's not just like a new wallpaper or something.
Right.
We're talking new icons, menus, the apps themselves, how the windows look, even like those little system buttons,
Yeah.
the ones we tap all the time. Like
Yeah.
they're supposedly redesigning those and everything. And the goal from what we're hearing is to make the experience the same on all the different Apple devices. So, your phone, your iPad, your Mac, it's all going to kind of feel the same and look similar. And it'll be interesting because that kind of consistency, it could be really helpful because you're switching between all these devices all day.
Right.
And if it all looks and feels the same, it makes it a lot easier to use.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to like relearn everything every time you pick up a new device.
That's right. And that's a big advantage when you're in like this ecosystem where you've got multiple Apple devices and you want everything to be seamless.
For sure.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, Apple has always kept those interfaces like pretty distinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mac OS has its own thing. iOS has its own thing.
Right.
So why this shift now? What do you think is driving this?
Yeah, and also like, are there any downsides to making everything look exactly the same?
Like
Even though they're such different devices.
exactly, yeah. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
I think that's a key question.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're trying to create a stronger ecosystem, right? Like make it even harder to leave, once you're in, you're in.
Right, right.
But the downside is maybe they homogenize the experience too much,
Yeah.
Like the iPad and the Mac, they're different for a reason.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to keep those nuances or if it's just going to be like one size fits all.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
Me too.
Okay, so we've got this huge visual redesign possibly happening.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we've got the usual yearly updates coming.
Yeah, they always do the yearly updates.
So iOS 19, iPadOS 19,
Maybe
16, watchOS 12.
Vision OS 3 for the Vision Pro.
Oh, right. Yeah, Vision OS 3.
All that. It's crazy.
It's a lot. And, we expect those updates every year, right?
Yeah.
But when you combine them with this massive visual redesign,
Oh, yeah.
it could be like a whole different experience.
Right. It's like if you moved into a new house.
Exactly.
But then they also updated all the appliances,
It's like a whole new everything.
It really amplifies everything.
Okay. But here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Some reports are saying that Apple is going to keep focusing on Apple Intelligence,
Oh.
but specifically, they're going to try to address some of the stuff they promised before.
Oh, right.
Like, remember all those big promises about Siri?
Oh, yeah. Like it was going to be super advanced.
Like way smarter and more helpful.
Right.
And it seems like maybe that's taking longer than they thought,
Yeah, it seems that way.
to actually make it work the way they said it would.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that Apple is actually admitting that there have been delays.
Yeah.
And that suggests that maybe their whole AI strategy is changing a little bit, you know? Like maybe instead of trying to do these super groundbreaking things that aren't quite ready yet,
Yeah.
maybe they're going to focus more on making sure everything is reliable.
Right.
And that it integrates well with everything else.
Yeah, like that's always been Apple's thing, right?
Exactly. They'd rather have something that works perfectly than something that's flashy but buggy, you know?
Right, right.
So maybe that's what we're going to see with AI too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, so it sounds like this WWDC could be like a reality check for AI.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like maybe they'll give us a more realistic timeline
Right.
for when we can expect like truly smart AI.
Right.
So that's kind of the big question.
Yeah, what's more important?
Like, is it better to have revolutionary AI that's still being worked on, or should we focus on steady improvements?
Yeah.
You know, that are dependable and work well.
Especially with this whole new visual experience coming too.
Right, exactly. Like maybe they should just nail the basics first.
Right, and that's what I'm curious about, you know,
Yeah.
thinking about Apple's approach. Like, usually they're all about refining what they already have and making sure it's stable. So does that make more sense than trying to rush out some new AI feature?
Yeah.
Might be buggy or not quite ready yet.
It's a good question. I don't know.
Something to think about.
Okay, so to wrap up this quick deep dive,
Yeah.
here's what you should keep an eye out for, okay? Big visual redesign
Yeah.
for like all of Apple's major operating systems.
Yep.
Obviously, new versions of all those systems.
Of course.
And then probably a lot of talk about the progress of Apple Intelligence.
And the reality of it.
Yeah, and the reality of it,
Or
exactly.
like where they're actually at.
Exactly. And I think this WWDC could really change like how our Apple devices look and feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how we use them every day.
And this should give you a good idea of what to pay attention to, you know?
Right.
So you don't get lost in all the rumors and speculation beforehand.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's a thought for you to think about.
Okay.
Given this big visual overhaul and the fact that advanced AI is taking longer than we thought,
Yeah.
what do you think is going to change the most? Like in your day-to-day life with your Apple devices?
Yeah.
What one thing is going to be the most different in the next year?
That's a good question.
Think about it.
I will.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.